So we spent a lot of time, I think we spent a good amount of time talking about the benefit of bait, or sort of what bait is and why you should do bait, and maybe even why the concept of bait is should be the focal point of your marketing and lead generation approach. And let me talk a little bit about why that is, or finish talking about why that is, because specifically, what are you getting when you put your bait out there? You're saying, listen, if you will let me know who you are and that you're interested, I will give you this thing of value. Well, that's called building a list, right? So this is, you're putting out your bait into the world, people are responding, and then they have to go into a list where you believe that you can take them in and convert them into patients, customers, clients. Now, that might happen immediately. You know, we want to talk about refining your intake and conversion system so that you can move people along almost automatically and get them to increase their buying desire and get them to understand what you offer and get them to reduce any of their resistance. Increase your credibility, all the things that you would want if you were doing one-on-one sales with that person. We want your intake and conversion process to do more automatically and certainly more systematically. But we also recognize that because of the nature of your bait and the fact that we're not necessarily only getting people who are knocking on our doors and coming into our offices, then we want those people to be it's really a long-term investment. You know, it's the metaphorically, I suppose, it's hunting and gathering versus farming, right? Hunting and gathering is let's go out and eat today, and farming is let's plant some seeds, let's take care of those seeds, let's nurture those seeds, and then we will eat in the future. So list building is farming, although you certainly can eat today as well. So what we're going to be talking about then is the sort of payoff, or in many cases, the measurable of your lead generation through the use of bait is going to be, are you building your list? And then a separate question, which is, I won't say completely separate because it is tied to your bait. Your bait is your first step in your intake and conversion process. But a separate question is converting those people who have raised their hands and said yes to your offer, converting those people into paying customers, clients, patients. So we've kind of talked about that. We'll talk about list communication. We'll talk about intake and conversion. We'll talk about all that stuff in the future. But let's talk about how to go from, hey, that sounds like a great idea, Fraser. I like the idea of bait, to creation of bait and then use of bait. So right now I'm recording this, and I am hopefully offering you some valuable information that you may be able to use to benefit your business. So let's say that that is either solving a problem or helping to fulfill on a promise. And this is, I would argue, could be presented as bait, right? If I say, if now remember we talked about this last, is that there's the content, and then there's the how do you encapsulate the content and the promise of the content into a title. And the title is really the bait. The title is what the prospect or prospective customer sees and that resonates with them to the point where they're going to come over there and take it from you. So, you know, the idea of, you know, the secret ingredient to making your marketing work, I would argue that title has some elements of compelling bait. And if the person saw that somewhere and they clicked on it and they listened to this recording or one of my other, one of my other recordings, then they would be better off. They would be further along towards their goal of solving their problem or taking advantage of some sort of promise or achieving some sort of goal than they would if they didn't listen to it. And that really, frankly, from my perspective, is what you're after, right? What is it that you could offer remotely without ongoing effort on your part and without ongoing or high levels of trust or buy-in on the prospect's part, what can you put together and offer that does good in the world, right? That actually leaves people better off than they started. Because if you can do that, and then of course, magnify that, if you can do that, then not only are you going to attract people, once they have experienced you, they are going to be more likely to want to get more of you. And, oh, by the way, you've actually every day through your marketing, you can think of yourself as leaving people better off than you found it. And that is important. That's the alchemy of big that I reference, which is if you flip the script and you make it so that you are, with your marketing, you're out there making the world a better place through your marketing. If you consider yourself an answer to people's problems and you reframe your marketing so that you're out there trying to help as many people as you can, then I think it changes your approach to your marketing, your enthusiasm for your marketing, your willingness to do things that otherwise you might not do. So there's a lot of positives, but let's just stay micro-focused and recognize that you can take something that you already have, right? You might have an email that you sent to a customer explaining an element of your process. You might have an FAQ document that you found that your customers or your patients or your clients have found really, really valuable. You might have a recording that you did explaining healthy weight loss to a client. You might have a prep checklist about what you can do at the end of the year to get yourself ready for taxes for your client. You could have a chart, a Word document table where you explain the differences between the different savings plans. You might have a glossary that you created describing all of the terms involved in a bathroom remodel. So what it is, I don't know. That's going to be dependent on your business, and it's also going to be dependent on what you've done in the past. But the concept would be find something that you think your prospective customers would be better off having than not having, and find a way for you to get not paid per se for that. We'll talk about getting paid for information in the next session about information products, but you're getting paid with contact information. They are saying, yes, I would like to put my email credit card, swipe my email credit card to get this thing that you're offering. Okay. And then that is valuable for you because we're going to talk about in the future knowing your numbers, and you're going to know what a new list member is worth to you. Once we convert through your intake and conversion and your total customer value and all these really cool things. So at a bottom line, you want to think about what is it that you have or what could you create easily that would be valuable bait, big advice, information, or tools for your prospective customers. Then the question is, okay, how do you create it? Well, you might already have it. In that form of a Word table or a checklist or a spreadsheet or whatever. And that might stand alone, or it might be a situation where you take that and then you do what I'm doing right now, which is sort of narrate or walk them through it. You can do that through an audio. You can do that through a screen capture. You could do that through a quick video. But now packaged together, you have some credible, compelling, this is how I can help you solve this problem, achieve this goal, realize this promise. And then we, of course, go back to the sizzle on the steak or the icing on the cake, and we create a compelling title that attracts our niche, our target market, and makes that promise to them. And then we make that available. And we'll talk in future, actually, we'll probably talk about this in intake and conversion. We'll talk about what does making available look like. Is that how do we capture their contact information so that we can follow up with them. But, many people already have an opt-in box or something like that. But there's lots and lots of ways to do that, and we will pick the one that's best for you and your business in your current state of technology. And then that's it. Then it's a question of where can I share this information? Where can I share this big advice, information, and tools that I have put together that will absolutely 100% improve the lives of the people who experience it, and that is compelling, valuable, credible enough that a person is willing to swipe their email credit card and give me their contact information so that I can add them to my list. And there it is. That's bait. And I hope that you see that whole shift in terms of thinking that's necessary. If you think of bait as something that I'm doing to con people into giving me something, your inner integrity, okay, that inner person that's in conflict is going to, it's going to be in conflict, and it's going to make it hard for you to succeed. Whereas if you look at yourself or if you look at this as an extension of your business mission, which is to help people lose weight, look good, have time with their families, have travel, save money, whatever your business mission is, then this just becomes, in many cases, the sharp end of the spear of you being able to accomplish that mission. So that's bait in a nutshell. I think with this, along with the previous conversation from the Big Stuff Workshop, you could probably have a good idea of bait. If you are interested in getting some help, either creating your bait or thinking through what bait could be, or thinking past bait to lead generation advertising or intake and conversion processes, then let's talk. Come to our Thursday coaching session, which you should be able to register for on this webinar, video, etc. Or email me or join the big network, and you get access to lots of cool things as part of your commitment to business is good.